one in my face.
All right, let's kick it off.
Okay. You don't want to clap?
You kicking it off tonight, babe? Go ahead.
I'm so sick of that clapping. I do not know what to do. So you know what? I don't. What?
Go ahead. Kick it off. At least we're
So
gonna do
big
it your
box.
way tonight.
Since he already clapped.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
No, I'm asking you to kick it off.
I don't want to.
Cause my wife won't cooperate. On our latest edition of Burnt Biscuits and Cold Eggs. And it's interesting that tonight my wife is acting a little funky. Because the people that we have with us on the couch this evening are in multiple ways responsible for me sitting here being the husband of Miss Tanisha Islam. So we're going to talk about that
Hello.
amongst everything else.
My
You're
hello.
welcome our guest,
Did you say hello?
Yep. 'Cause I didn't even
LeMarcus
think about that part. But
and
anyway.
Yvonne Lee.
Exactly. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
welcome, welcome. So that's probably a good way to start the show. Talking about how we can probably talk about how we met and then how they helped to put us together.
It was very simple.
Oh God. It was not very simple.
LeMarcus is responsible for you being aware of my existence.
Correct.
Because LeMarcus and I worked together, and he used to brag about my greatness. And my wife used to just be, my soon-to-be wife used to just be very interested.
Okay, so let's tell the for real story this time. Let's try telling the truth.
Okay,
Exactly.
LeMarcus and I used to work together.
That part's true.
He used to brag about my greatness.
Well,
actually, I wasn't there, so y'all tell me what happened.
so Marcus, do you even know?
He
No.
peripherally knows.
Does he really?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, how I knew of Ahmad is completely different than how you and I. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right. That's true.
it's
true.
It's a two-part.
Okay, well, tell the story.
So
Because all I know is after I was no longer married, I was like,
here we go.
I'm finna slide up in these DMs.
And then what happened?
The first time you refused.
Okay, so anyway, that's not the.
That's not we've told this story before.
Exactly.
Our dedicated viewers have heard that, but they have not heard the story of how the Lees influenced this current situation. So I'll let you go.
So they had, so both of you had influence on me. I did. I found out about. I was made aware of you way back, LeMarcus, probably when we were in Atlanta. Remember, whenever Common Ground was going on, and you were with Common Ground, and, you know, we'd have conversations about what was going on with Common Ground and Sherman and Ahmad, and I would hear Sherman and Ahmad all the time, and so.
Because we went.
you went to school with both
Sherman
of
and
Sherman.
Yes,
Ahmad.
okay, I guess I did.
Right.
Yes, yeah, we all went to school together. So hearing that,
You, Sherman, and Look went to school.
correct, and so that's how I was made aware of you. Just hearing about
My greatness. I'm sorry.
and so,
Then, after I slipped in the DMs and she responded the second time, and I'm not sure if it was before we went out on the first date or two or after, but she went to Yvonne.
It was before y'all went out.
She went to Yvonne
Yeah.
to vet me.
You weren't even sure you wanted to go out.
I was like, yeah, you need to tell me something. I know of him through luck, but I don't know, like, what can you? I know that you've probably been around him outside of what
And
can
I
you
had
tell
been,
me
yeah.
about him outside of like what I see on social media? And so she had
So
nice things to
what
say.
got us from that conversation?
Because you didn't even tell me what
To
it
hear.
was. You were just like, let's meet for coffee.
Yep, I said meet me for coffee.
And you know what? Being as nosy as I am, I was like, sure.
Yeah, let's go. And so we did. And I just was curious, like I said, and she had great things to say about you. I couldn't get any negative information, so I said, okay, well, it's worth a date.
Now look at you.
You know what?
And then when I came back home and I told Mark, I was like, guess what Tanisha wanted to talk about? Then he sat there like this for a minute. He goes, you know what? I think those two would make a good couple.
Really? Did you say that?
And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He was like, what I know from Ahmad, what I know from Tanisha, I think they would make a good couple. I said, well, we'll see.
Look at luck.
We'll
with
wait.
The, look
We'll
at luck
see.
with the prophecy.
You know what? Not
Yeah.
a prophecy. And so that's kind of how the Lees put the Islams together?
I was just curious about the whole vetting process because I'm always curious about.
She was definitely doing
I'm
her due
always
diligence.
curious about what women who are vetting a man. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say that, talk about versus what men talk about because our conversation is fairly surface. I'm sure compared to y'all.
Does she have big ass? Well, you already know that because you know.
What
What do you say?
Is she crazy?
Yeah.
But most men, men, you ask. So if you were to ask. Most men don't know that. Do most men see that side of?
Y'all
If you're not dating the woman,
this what y'all gotta
Well, they either heard something or they know somebody that dated her.
It's a whole underground crazy rumor mill.
Yeah.
We know who's crazy and
Yeah.
not. I mean, we choose
Yeah.
to like maybe go find out for ourselves, but we pretty much fucking know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of little signals. It's not hard to figure out if a motherfucker is crazy.
so then question. So LeMarcus, if Ahmad had come to you and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about asking Tanisha out on a date," is she crazy?
I would have said she
no,
ain't
so
crazy.
First of all, that's not how the conversation
Oh, my
went.
bad.
okay,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I would
Okay.
have said, look,
Right.
Tanisha, what's up with her? That's what I
That's
said.
just what's up with okay.
And then he might have said, well, because it's luck, right? First thing he would have said was, she look crazy. But then it hit me with all the
Yeah.
reasons why. But he would have
Yeah.
started with the crazy because he
Yeah.
didn't want to make sure I know that. Because
Well, now I actually would have started with she loud as fuck.
loud as fuck, right? Which ties to crazy. But the thing is, because if he didn't tell me, and then I come to find out later, I'm becoming a loud nigga.
Right.
Why
Yeah,
didn't
why
you
you didn't
tell
warn
me?
me?
Come
Yeah.
on, dog. I thought we was cool. But now going in, now he's giving me the luxury of choice.
So is that what you would have said? You
That would start off.
I'm
She loud.
loudest?
Yeah, she loud as
Really?
fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, what Yvonne and I discussed is really none of y'all's business.
I'm sure y'all discuss my
They went into depth.
my
Yeah,
character,
we went
They
very
went into
deep.
depth.
my relationship with the Lord.
Yeah. Among other people.
Okay, well that's glad you did your research because guess what?
Where the Lord live?
Exactly. So it worked out well.
It did. I mean, it's like I think we have a lot in common with them though. This, I think luck has, whether he realizes it or not, always kind of been part of my inspiration, especially when I was fat, to stay on my fitness.
Interesting.
Really?
So-
Okay.
Did you
So,
know
but-
that?
No.
But so-
not with
but
my
so
current
luck,
state.
like,
We did discuss it when he started losing weight, though.
Really?
yeah,
Because I was like,
luck,
have you seen how different Ahmad look? And he was like, oh, yeah, I think he's been working on
Yeah, luck.
working
But
out.
see, luck was always luck. I was amazed by luck though, because luck was always talking about health and fitness, and he was a trainer, and he was doing his
Always.
working out. But then,
All my food.
but then he occupied the office across from me,
Intentional.
and the office was known for only eating brown foods. Like every time for lunch, all the
Brown
foods would be
food?
brown.
Yes, I can believe it.
Which
Fried.
is the total
Jamaican
opposite
chicken,
of,
fried
because the
fried.
whole thing
Really?
about when you're healthy is right, is add some color to your rainbow.
Yeah.
Luck and them ate the desert. Everything was fried. It was all shades of brown.
So, the reason being was my metabolism was still a young man's metabolism. So,
Back then,
Captain Hooks. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Gotcha.
6 wings and some fries. But I would only eat 2 wings at a time. So that one meal would last me three times.
Nobody would go in their office for meetings after lunch.
And as long as I ate every 2.5 hours,
You
I
were
kept
good.
my
You were
metabolism
good.
up.
Right.
So I wasn't putting on weight. You know what
So
I'm saying?
here's
So
the key.
that's
Here's the key to you
that-
fried chicken eaters.
that's
If you
the-
order a 6-piece, eat 2 pieces.
But you got to
every
be
2
30,
hours.
35 years or younger.
And I don't know if y'all noticed this, but Mark almost only ever drinks water.
I
Yeah.
Outside of liquor.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
that's my. I mean, like water. I mean, so I think that's one of the things. Like we've all gone through, have been on various aspects of the health journey, right? Luck
Yes.
inspired my fitness. Yvonne, you've been doing some amazing things that you definitely want you to talk about. My lovely wife is just starting her fitness journey. She has made me proud this week. She's done a Pilates class, a kickboxing class. She's rode the Peloton. She actually went 24 hours without drinking sugary drinks.
Wow.
She's drinking 2
That's
50-ounce
pretty good.
bottles of water. Yeah,
And you know, I don't
That's
drink
really
water.
good.
You know I don't drink
That's
water.
really good.
Yeah.
So I really, but what I figured, because I know myself and I know AD, I have to have something that's going to keep me focused. If I was riding the Peloton all week, it would die out quickly.
Right.
So I kind of started
Need a
switching it up.
variety.
Exactly. So the kickboxing, the Pilates mixed in with that. We're gonna see how.
We're going to get there.
We're gonna see how that.
But what inspired your fitness kick, though?
what inspired my fitness kick? So I have some plans for the summer. It's not going to be a hot girl summer. It's not going to be a hot girl summer.
It's going to be a hot mama summer.
Hot mama.
Yeah.
A hot mama's. Look at this face.
It's gonna be a dead.
You know what? No.
You'll benefit peripherally.
No, but I do. I want to because it'll be time for, it'll be anniversary time. It'll be birthday time. I just want to, by the time summer rolls around, I want to.
So on a scale of 2 handfuls or 2 armfuls, where we gonna be?
So speaking of, that's the thing with him. So when we were dating,
I had to tell you. I'm gonna tell. Let me tell.
Yeah.
No, actually, you tell the story.
because I don't even know.
No, I want to hear your version.
No, I don't know.
I want to hear your version.
I just need to know. Can you hear me when I crunch my chips on? I've got to eat because I'm hungry. Okay.
Okay, so this is kind of a great segue. So no, tell your version of the story.
I don't
please.
know. What
Yeah,
I do
you
know.
know the
What I
story.
do know is when we were dating, we had a weekly weigh-in.
That's not true. That's
And
not
so
true. That's not true.
he would tell me this.
You got the people out here thinking I'm I'm a misogynistic
You are.
savage.
You
I'm a
are.
misogynistic savage.
Okay.
Come
and
on,
so
man.
what happened? The thing about it is, y'all know me well enough to know, like I love honey buns. Like Mrs.
Oh
Barrett's
my
honey
God,
buns
not
are
honey
like my
buns.
weakness. That and Kroger cake, but
Sheet cake.
I've laid off.
I know about the cake.
both of them. So, but when we were dating, I was on my
Honey
honey
bun
bun
diet.
kick. I was, and so, one day he looked at me and he said, "I just want you to know that you can't get over 140." Is that a lie or the truth?
I did say it, but
Okay.
it was a hypothetical.
He's lying. He's lying for these
Now, y'all
cameras.
do know
He's
that we
lying.
did witness one of these incidents, right?
What? When?
And you said it jokingly, but I knew you meant it
He
when you
did.
said it. Remember we had the farm to table dinner?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I-
For the holiday at
And
the,
you said something about don't get too big.
No, he actually said.
What did he say exactly?
I didn't. He said I started dating 125.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's the way he said it.
That's
the
where
way
the
he said
140
it.
came from. So,
Yeah.
but the 2 handfuls, the 2 armfuls.
I can't wait
That's
for you
kind
to
of where it
explain
started.
this.
So,
Wait till y'all hear
this should actually probably be on Burnt Biscuits and Cold Eggs After Dark. We're gonna talk
Exactly.
about it in a regular episode. So, when we first started dating, my wife was in grad school. She had a lot of stress. She was driving to College Station all the time, so she was actually probably a little underweight, right?
Yeah.
And
So
so
being stressed
I
out.
would say, like, when I would grab them yams, it was just 2 handfuls.
Right.
And then I noticed over time, as she got happier in the relationship, she got out of
I
school,
started
she
picking up that happy
graduated, she started picking up that happy weight. It went from 2 handfuls to 2 armfuls,
Right.
and I was just, and it was interesting to me, and I would see. Then that's how I would measure. It wasn't like the mirror or her clothes fitting. It was always handfuls to armfuls.
Right.
And so I was trying to explain this to her, and I said, think about it like this.
Listen to this analogy.
Think about it like if you're at the grocery store buying fruit, right? There's a difference between having 2 handfuls of grapes. I'm sorry, 2 handfuls of oranges and 2 armfuls of oranges. It's a lot more It's a whole lot more oranges like this. It's a lot more goddamn oranges. So that's all I was saying. So that's always been my metric, and it's just been. I mean, it's just natural, right? That's all.
No, it's not. It's actually not.
What's not natural about it?
So anyway, that's our deal for. So 140 has
It's a
always
little
kind of
bit.
been the benchmark when it comes to you get over
That's
140. And yeah, you get over 140 and it's like, all right, we're gonna have to have a conversation now. And so
I was got to get to work.
yeah, so
But it's the same with me and 200, right? I'm determined to stay below 200. So anytime I get below 195, I start panicking. Water, no carbs. I got to bring it back down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just. I mean, I just feel like we should all, especially this late in life, and we all in our 50s, right? And that, just I think it's good to be aware. So whether we look at the scale
It is.
or the armfuls,
It is. I think there's a kindness in a relationship. Honestly, that when we're young, we're too cowardly to communicate. We know what our preference is. We know what we like. We know what makes us comfortable and uncomfortable. But we're scared to communicate it because we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. We don't want to alienate the other person. And we just don't feel confident enough in ourselves and where we are to communicate our likes and dislikes. But I think it's it's honest and it's fair because it tells you like kind of where you need to be.
Yeah.
Without leaving it up to guessing. You know?
That's the one thing about getting older. I couldn't wait for it to not care about what the fuck I said.
For real.
You have been doing that all your life. That doesn't have anything to do with
But now I
getting
can do it with
old.
reason. I can be like, I'm over 50. I don't have to care. But Yvonne, I mean, look, so your fitness journey has been amazing. Let's talk about that. I mean, so Yvonne is competing.
I don't know how did it even start.
How long ago did it start?
It started a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like
2 years ago. I remember turning 50 and not being really excited about how I look.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no real motivation to change it,
Make a change.
I would say. Because he was still pretending to be pretty okay with it.
Okay, so wait. So when you say pretending, Mark, were you
Luck wanted to have weigh-ins, but he didn't.
You know what? I didn't want to ask you that.
He was giving hints.
Was he really? So what did he
was
hint? So
he
what
was
did he hint
constantly
about?
giving hints. Because he would wait for the opportunity for me to say, "Oh, I need to lose some weight." He go, "Well, all you have to do is start working out, and you have to change the way you eat. You know, eating is the majority of it." And then he would keep reminding me when I would eat certain things, and I would look at him and say, "Oh, so he really want me to lose weight?
Just won't
He
necessarily
just
come out
don't." And then every once in a while, I would say, "Well, because we tried this before, him training me, because he used to be a trainer."
That's what I was gonna ask about, like living. I think that's a completely different something.
No,
That's
no,
a
no,
dynamic.
it never work out.
Yeah,
never work out.
shit. Okay, but
Because
go
he
ahead.
obviously has a soft spot for me, and I can be very forceful in what I want and what I don't want, and he give in. So when he was training
so
me, if I say, and if I know what works on him. So if I start crying, which I really don't do,
Of course, I know.
I start crying. He go, "Okay, that's all right. That's okay. Forget it." So when I decided to get serious, it was because I was seeing things in my health that I had never seen before.
Right. Yeah.
I've always had very good blood pressure. All of a sudden, they were telling me it was slightly high, and I was like, "Oh, that's not right. Y'all should take it again." And then a couple other little things changed, and I was like, "Okay, I can't do this. I have my children are too young. We still running behind children, And for me, being a Virgo, and I'm saying that because I'm kind of anal in it. So I don't have time for all this. I don't have time to be going to the doctor. I don't have time for the other stuff. So why don't I just do the right thing and get in shape, and that'll improve all these other areas,
Right.
and then I won't have to worry about that.
Yep.
So we talked about it, and he said, "You should just like get a trainer." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." He not trying to train me himself because he knows what to do. He knows what I need to do, but he realizes I need some other coaching.
Yeah, outside voice.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I called a friend. We had actually worked out with her and her husband before at a different place, and she had lost 95 pounds.
Really?
Dang.
Yeah. So I had started doing research, and I was like, "Well, how did you do that?" And she said, "Oh, I met this trainer, and he got my diet together and got my workout routine together." And she's like, just consistency. You have to keep going. So at the very beginning, I committed myself to 1 year.
Okay.
I said, whatever happens after a year, we'll see. If it don't work, I just kind of surrendered to the process. I told him I'm going to do whatever the trainer says to do. And he was like, "Okay, that's what you got to do." Even though every day I came home, he was like, "What did he say today? What did he tell you to do? What kind of diet did he give you?" And he was like, "Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good."
Yeah.
And
I had to make sure. it was
after
on
about
point.
6 months,
Really?
I saw about almost 20 pounds fall off, and I was like, "Oh,
I'm gonna say,
okay."
you didn't have 95 to lose.
I had 40 to lose,
Like, baby, don't
and I
lose.
knew I had at least 40. I knew that going in.
You on 40?
Yes.
No.
Yes. I knew
It
it.
just conceptually on you, I can't even see. And I've known you for how long? I don't forever. It seems
I
like
tell everybody
40?
I'm good at camouflage.
Really?
Yeah.
I never would have imagined it was 40, ever.
It was. I knew it was at least 40.
At least.
And I was telling my cousin, I was like, "Well, I have like 40 pounds to lose."
But was
and shit.
that was comfortable weight or like your competition weight?
No, that was just comfortable weight.
Yeah.
That was comfortable
Really?
weight. Yeah. And she was like, "No way." I was like, "Okay, well, just go with me," because when he weighed me and measured me, you can see. And I told her, "By the way, you have 40 pounds to lose too." And she was like, "No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't." So
Until she got up
after
there
he
and
measured
started
me,
doing the
he
BMI
measured her
already.
right, and he was like, "Yeah, you have 42."
Fuck BMI. BMI is full of shit, but
It is.
Still,
It is.
It's like, but like I have a person close to me that was like 270, got down to 240 and was celebrating. I'm like, 240 is where I got sick and realized I needed to
It's a
lose
good
weight.
start. Yeah, if to losing weight.
You gotta keep rolling.
And that's how I ended up doing a competition, because I was talking to my friend and I said, okay, I'm feeling pretty good because I've lost like 35 pounds. I'm close to my goal. And she said, you know, what I learned, because she lost 95 pounds, she said, what I learned is you really ought to push way past your goal. Because if you get way past it, then you can settle on your goal weight. And you can feel pretty good about it.
I agree. I completely agree with that, because I'm like 200 is my like caution Will Robinson. I'm 185 and I try to stay
right
there.
Yeah.
Just because I had a doctor tell me one time, you need to weigh 180, and this was when I was like 220. And I was like, man, fuck out of here. I'm not weighing goddamn 180. People gonna be bumping into me in the
It
club.
sounds impossible.
So watch out, little nigga. So I was like, but now as you start to get down and you see how you feel,
and you feel comfortable. You feel much more comfortable. You feel much more energetic.
So
And
baby,
that's why I decided to do the show.
You gonna commit to a year? That's what I like though. It's like, you can commit to a year.
So what I'm committing to is a lifestyle change. Honestly, I really enjoy getting up, and I enjoy the variety in the working out. I don't know if it's going to consistently stay all of that, but I enjoy.
That shit was so new. I was laying in bed asleep, and I dreamt a motherfucker kissed me on my face. I thought it was one of my kids leaving for school or some shit. Cause I was like, I wake up and she's showering. I'm like, what you doing? You don't have to
because she leaving at
she just got back from the gym.
She
just got back.
My class was
I literally was
5:30.
like, no, you didn't. I didn't hear you go.
He really didn't believe
I was
that.
like, what?
I got
and
up.
she was like, I kissed you. I was like, oh, I thought that was a dream.
Well, that's when you know it's turned into a lifestyle, because
at 5:30.
now I automatically wake up at 4.
Really?
Oh yeah, but see,
I wake up at 4.
That's
no
the
matter
commitment.
what.
And you know this as a trainer. Like anything before 6 is real commitment. I was telling T, I was in Atlanta on business last week.
I didn't know that.
And I woke up I was planning to be in the gym at 6.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up at like 4:45, just couldn't get back to sleep. So the clock hit 5. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
So I get in the gym at 5. And this actually, you know how stuff happens sometimes just unexpectedly, and it starts to shape and frame how you think. So I got in the gym at 5, and I was in there by myself. I did damn near an hour Peloton. I was just in there in my own thing at 6 o'clock, like rush hour.
People saw
the door of the gym, and it went from me by myself from 5 to 6:01 to 12 people in the gym, and I was like, these 12 people in the gym at 6 a.m. are still in the top, I'm gonna say 10% of achievers.
Yeah,
because
at least they win.
Because of those 12. If it's 100, it's 88 motherfuckers still in bed.
For sure.
Those 12 are in the gym at 6. I was in there at 5, which puts me in a 1%.
Right.
And I think that applies to life, right? If you compare yourself to average motherfuckers, the best you're gonna do, the best you're gonna do is get to high achievers.
Right.
If you compare yourself to high achievers and you beat them, that puts you in the 1%.
Right.
Again, it was just one of those things for me. I was sitting there while these people was waiting on me to get off the Peloton, and I started pedaling slow because they was rushing me. I was just like,
asshole.
Wow, you motherfucker should have gotten here at 5 like I did.
Right.
But it actually, it's interesting because I think we talked about this motivations and things. It's kind of my motivator for 23 now. It's like, all right, I need to make sure, fuck these people. That's it. I can, just by doing what I normally do, stay ahead of the 88%.
Those people, right.
I need to figure out what I got to do to stay ahead of these 12.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, I digress.
And I think since you're starting out early in the morning, that's already showing a huge commitment, because I started out going in the evening.
Really?
I couldn't even conceptualize getting up at 4 to go in the morning.
For the sun.
But then at some point when I started seeing weight fall off, I was like, okay, well, I interrupted my evening. My kids have activities. I got to find a way to make this work, to make it sustainable forever.
Long term, right?
When do you have, everybody got free time at 4 a.m.
Just wake up. Yeah,
You wake up, like you said, nobody's there.
Duh.
It's unencumbered. You can get it done quickly.
In and out.
And
Yep.
you already accomplished the biggest feat of your
You
day,
just
waking
got
up
to adjust
early.
on the other side. You got to go to bed.
Exactly.
You gotta go
And
to
see, that's
bed.
the problem for us, I think,
No,
because
no,
our house.
No, that's the problem for you.
No, it's the problem for us. Our house does not go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock. So
My
Mine
wife
don't
wants
either.
to be the
But
last
I do.
one.
I do
My
now.
wife wants to be the
Alright,
last
so-
one to sleep. Like, I'll lay it down.
So I hadn't said anything.
I used to be the last
Yeah.
one, but I will lay down now.
Coming from a trainer, You're absolutely right. When people decide, when they make the decision, I want to improve my health. I want to get more muscle. I want to drop fat. I want to improve my athletic, whatever. They're changing. They're finna have to do a whole bunch of shit that they didn't do yesterday.
Yep.
Right? All they think about is the gym and maybe the kitchen a little bit. They don't think about the kitchen as much as they should, because the kitchen is 70 to 80% of what you're trying to fucking do. Right?
As I eat Fritos.
But that's all.
That's all we eat Fritos, right?
But that's what they're thinking. They're not thinking of it as a lifestyle change. The sad thing about it is, it never should have got to the point where it was a fucking lifestyle change. 100 years ago, everybody woke up with the fucking roosters.
Yeah,
everybody.
Because them goddamn predators was out. They had to be awake, because if they were asleep, they might have gotten it.
But also, that's when you get shit done, because you only had so many hours of sunlight. And once the sun went down, everybody took their ass to sleep around no later than 9 o'clock.
Right.
When the Industrial Revolution hit, and them rich motherfuckers was like, bitch, I don't want to be at the office before 9 o'clock. I ain't finna have my business start before 8.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all get here at 8. I'm gonna get here at 9. I expect y'all to have certain stuff done by the time I get here, and I'm going home at 5.
Yeah.
That's when shit started shifting. And they started getting fat. They started drinking wine. That's when the 5-star restaurant, all the luxury shit.
You don't see no fat cave drawings. Back when motherfuckers was out chasing animals and digging up plants and shit. You look on the cave drawings, they all skinny.
Yeah.
That's why they stick figures.
They all skinny.
But the crazy thing about it is, later on, when they started having the health problems, they realized, I got the freedom to go take care of this. Because I got all these other motherfuckers doing my work, running my business.
Who now got fat.
Right.
And didn't have the freedom to go take care of it.
But in our mind, in this society, once you get married, you got the mate.
It's okay.
All the shit you did to attract the mate, you know, them shoulders, those hips, all of that shit, you got the mate. You don't need that shit no more.
You can go from 2 handfuls to 2 bushels now.
Baby.
I ain't mad at 2 bushels. It's just like,
I mean, but that's
I gotta bend my knees.
But that's where the mindset happened, right?
Yeah.
So it became acceptable for, that baby weight not to lose, and that beer gut to come on, because
kind of like the conversation we were having where she said, you gave him these kids, and so it should be okay for you to, you know what I'm saying? That's the mindset.
The unhealthiness became a sign of progress, of prosperity. I earned this gut. I don't know how many dudes I heard say that. I earned that.
That's African.
Hey.
I don't know where it came from.
You know what?
I just heard it.
We're not gonna do today.
I don't know. I don't know. But it became woven into our society so that when people,
ma'am,
they believe that.
Yeah, the bigger
big belly is a sign of prosperity in
prosperity. Yeah,
big woman with big heels. Some African countries.
Right. This is so terrible.
They gonna
I don't know shit about that.
Ask Sally Struthers.
But that shit became so.
You know what? Oh, I swear.
Ask Sally Struthers. She didn't
Never
go.
hear about that one.
Sally Struthers went to no village with a king with a big belly. All the villages Sally Struthers went through had skinny kings.
You know
The
what?
king with a big belly got Sally Struthers.
Sally Struthers. You know the
Yeah, I know. I mean, but you said, what about all of
She
them?
didn't go to no villages with kings with big bellies.
No, she didn't.
No prosperous villages.
No,
all
she
the villages
didn't.
she went through
Everybody
had
was
skinny
hungry.
kings.
Everybody hungry.
but you know what you realize through the process.
Hey, we're gonna have to find a good picture of Sally Struthers for
You stupid as hell.
What you realize through the process is though that way of thinking, you start to realize that way of thinking is that 88%, the 12%, the other 12%, they thinking, I want to do a little bit better. And you realize that it translates to their career or
for
their
25
livelihood.
cents a day, you can feed 5 children.
Shoot, a whole little village back in the day.
Right.
$1 a day. You remember they used to fill out that
I'm
little
not
quarter thing?
participating in this.
You
I'm
remember that
not.
little quarter thing they gave you?
And I don't know what nothing about what you're talking about. I don't know nothing.
I want pictures of the kids I'm feeding. I need to see their IG. Like I'm not feeding no.
Look at this.
I'm not feeding no more kids. Let's see a picture
Oh, Sally
on
Struthers
IG.
has been eating.
I need to see y'all dropping off their meals.
Sally Struthers kept all the meals for herself.
Y'all ever see that South Park episode
Yeah, when she
He
was
probably
eating
where
did.
Sally Struthers ate all the food? Sorry, it was a Starving Marvin episode of South Park. If y'all have never watched, shout out to South Park and the Starving Marvin episode.
Hey, boy.
That was when
South
Eric
Park.
Cartman said, "This is one of the actually to the point of overindulgence. The difference between American
Cartman.
culture." Eric Cartman
With
said,
his big
Starving Marvin was an Ethiopian basic
Ethiopian,
exchange
yeah.
student. No, I'm sorry, Ethiopian Open is what they said.
Oh, well.
Which is foul.
Exactly.
Cartman said, right there, Starving Marvin. Look.
Yep, that's
Cartman said,
That's a shame. Look how big his
Cartman
head is.
said, Starving Marvin. These are appetizers. This is what we eat before we eat. I was like, damn, that sounds so greedy.
Before we eat. Yeah, before we eat.
Right.
Starving Marvin.
is good.
Anyway, I'm sorry. How did we get?
I mean, way off on.
I don't know.
Oh, we was talking. No, we was Luck,
but-
who not only being a trainer is also a professor. So he
And
was
a
giving us a
historian,
lesson on how Americans got fat.
That's how we get
Some of how motherfuckers got fat, and I started breaking down. I know I know how we got.
I mean,
here.
but it's like, but I was saying, people, it's a shame that being healthy is now considered having to change your
something-
lifestyle.
Right. And
I mean,
people, and not only is it considered changing lifestyle, it's considered superficial.
Yeah, but that's my thing. Is I mean, for
People think
us,
it's
for us in this
superficial.
house, it's about normalizing health, and I
Yes.
think it's about normalizing health in a way that, like, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but I'm on a
You
roll.
really don't.
I'm hot right now, so I'm like, I don't want to be on my deathbed and be like, damn, I wish I would have ate that motherfucking steak. I don't want to be like that. So
For real,
I'm gonna,
yeah.
I'm gonna splurge, but I know all the levers, right?
Right.
I got a food lever. And if I pull that food lever, that means I got to pull the exercise lever.
Right.
If I pull the exercise lever, or I don't pull the exercise lever actually, and I
Yeah,
pull the
pull
food
the food
lever.
lever.
I
Right.
know if I don't pull food, but I pull. I'm sorry, you confuse me. If I pull food, but I don't pull exercise, I got to pull medicine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And those
true.
and those
Yeah.
are the three levers. And it's like, because when my food and my exercise is right, meds don't mean nothing. And I think
Right.
to the average American, meds have become like I'm
Just
diabetic.
It's the
normalized.
norm.
It's
And
so
I'm
normalized.
diabetic. So when I was
It's the norm.
240, damn near 250, I tipped, found out I was diabetic. It was an interesting story. I'll tell the story. So I was in Vegas, 72 hours of bullshit, very little sleep. So I came home and I felt off. And so when I got home, I, as typical man, didn't go to the doctor. Felt like, this is Vegas. I need to recover. I need some rest. So after a week, I go to the doctor. I'm probably 250 at this point. I'm 185 now. So imagine, I'd be all up here in Tanisha's space back then.
No, you wouldn't be all up in Tanisha's face.
Because you wouldn't have
that wouldn't have happened.
You wouldn't have dated 240.
I'm not sure what that would look like. So let's just keep going.
Okay. So anyway, so I go to the doctor, and when I go in, the doctor that I was supposed to see it actually got sent home that day. And they were like, "Oh, Dr. So-and-so's not here. We should reschedule." I'm like, "Nah, I think I need to see somebody." So they take me in, and it's internist. And so it's in there. I mean, internist kind of amateur doctor, but we're in there having a conversation and whatnot. She's like, "Well, it just sounds like you work hard. You've been, partying a little bit. You might be a little dehydrated. But we're going to check the blood glucose just to be sure." So they check it. And this is, I didn't understand at the time, but I get it now. She checked it, read the meter. It was like 680. She just ran out the door. I still didn't realize how serious it was. So they come in like, "You need to go direct to the emergency room." Still didn't realize how
Wow.
serious it was. So I get to the emergency room, and there's people in there with shit visibly wrong with them, right? Motherfucker
Right.
with an ice pack on his head, little blood on his face. I'm skipping ahead of all of them. So take me in and basically give me the whole, we don't know why you're awake. Basically, like, you should be in a diabetic coma. We don't know why you're awake. So anyway, I spent the next week in the hospital adjusting to life as a diabetic, right? So, I mean, I researched all my vices to think what I was going to have to give up and what I could do. This is when I learned that gin is the best alcohol for diabetics. Gin and tonic. Bam.
Yep.
So, but I also left the hospital determined to normalize fitness in my life. Now, the crazy thing was I walked from the hospital to my house. It was like 2 miles. Just that was like in my mind, I was kicking off my fitness, you know. My ex at the time, my wife at the time was like, I'm gonna come back now, I'm gonna walk. When I tell you I got home and my whole body cramped up.
2 miles.
I walked 2 miles.
Your body was like, excuse me.
My whole body cramped. Yeah, my whole body cramped up. But it inspired me to know what I had to do to get on my fitness journey. So I've gone from 250 to 185. But when you have that kind of a scare, again, it makes you very aware of the levers. Like, shit, I'll be out. I'll order some bullshit ass dessert. But what do I say?
What?
Gotta get up in the morning. Gotta get on that bike. Gotta do whatever.
But you do that a lot with
you pull
even
the
with
levers, right?
Yeah, but you do that with red meat. I mean, with everything. So that's why I say for us, it becomes a normalization of exactly. Exactly.
And you just know when you go too far, you gotta switch it up.
But even though you've lost the weight, it hasn't corrected like your blood sugar.
Well, I mean, for me, the way I look at it is, and this is medically how they talk about it, even though most Americans will ignore it. Once you tip, you're diabetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you cross over to diabetic, you're diabetic. So my numbers now, like my A1C is at a level where I'm considered probably pre-diabetic to not diabetic. Okay. But the point is,
you know, you can go back there very easily.
Quickly. Yeah, right. Yeah, and I have. I mean, I've gone from when I found out I was diabetic, my A1C was like 11.9, which is insane.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been as low as 6.5.
Okay.
I've gone back up to 9. But again, that's just a part of regulating and managing my life. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that I have to stay 7 or below to just
because it's healthy. A slippery slope. Once you get
it is, and it's I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's having the meds lever there is good to have, but I think a lot of people abuse it. Like I have relatives that are diabetic that I'll go to their house and they're drinking a 2 liter of regular Coke, eating cookies, eating a cake. I'm like you're diabetic like me. Like,
but you know those meds really aggressively work on your kidneys and your liver.
Well, yeah, so
I think that's one thing that people don't think about. Like, even though I have the lever of the meds to use, that's the least. The one you want to use the least because it has the biggest impact on your health. But it's also,
but I think it's even also how you mix the 3. So, like, one of the meds I've taken for a long time basically is designed to, as you take in sugar, you pee it out. And the whole point of it is it makes you have to drink water. That's why I drink an insane amount of water because if you get to the point where you're not passing it, then that's when the kidney problems start to happen. Right. So, I mean, I think the thing is life, right? Every measure has a countermeasure, and it's just understanding what those are and being comfortable with, pulling the different levers versus putting blinders on, which I think is what a lot of people do. They just ignore it.
The thing about it is they don't put blinders on. This society and this world is not set up for most people to even be able to have the conversation that we're having here.
Oh yeah.
It's everything about our society is set up like that stage that you were going through. Too many people accept. It's a part of life. It's not even a choice.
My doctor literally told me, he said, if all of my patients attacked it like you attacked it, pharma companies would be in trouble.
Right.
But they're not.
They would.
But they're not. Okay. Because they don't.
One of my defining philosophies is we do a poor job of teaching us to be us. Fundamentally, there's no interest in this world for humans to eat the way our body's supposed to be fed. If we fed our bodies the way they're supposed to be fed, the world economy would crumble. Right. Because every restaurant, grocery store, fast food is dependent upon sugar.
Yeah. Oh no. Look, I literally say sugar is the fucking devil.
Yeah, it's the biggest drug on the planet.
It's the devil.
And if we ate the way our body's supposed to be fed, all of those industries would disappear. The buildings that need to be constructed.
Some of that bad for you shit tastes good.
It does taste good.
Yeah, like a honey bun.
Almost all of it.
But the system is set up for us to participate in the system. So this conversation about leverage, they don't know they have leverage.
Nah, most people
Some
don't.
people
Well,
don't.
yeah, most
They
people
don't.
don't know.
So
they
it's
have
not a
leverage,
choice.
Or they. Well, here's my thing. I'm gonna say this, and this. I want to hear my wife's opinion on this. I don't think ignorance is any longer an excuse because there's Google in the hood. If you fucking read
Google in the
there's
hood.
Google in the hood. You can get access to information. I mean, there was a point in time where socioeconomic status had a material impact on access to information. It fucking doesn't.
True.
Everybody, listen. Come on, y'all got
I
hood
agree
friends.
with that.
Hood
But
friends
the-
got
but
75 inches.
It's true, but
Wi-Fi, high speed, and iPhones.
Just
But
There's
the
no lack of
socio
access.
part of it is still very strong. The economic part of it may not be as big a factor to access to information.
but it's
the way
access,
people
though.
get socialized doesn't mean they're going to use the access.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is, I think the job of addressing it in our community and culture has changed. I no longer have to give you access. I now have to just convince you of the importance of leveraging the access that you have.
And who's going to do that?
True.
Exactly. no. They're very.
This
they're-
podcast, shit
dude,
like this.
So
I mean,
for being in the class,
look, but here's my thing. Like, this is why I tell. I mean, I've been an open book at all times about. I talk openly about having a son with autism, in part because I know that black families, but black men especially struggle with that. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna talk openly about mine. I talk openly about my health journey. I've got boys, and I'm like, I know you're diabetic, and I'm saying no to the cake, and I'm okay, and you're not, and you're eating the cake. So I think it is about having people that are relatable, having these open conversations, these open dialogues. Whether
I agree with that.
Whether it's an
Yeah.
expert like yourself or somebody that's actually experienced
Agree
it
with
like me. I mean, for me, that's where it comes from. Because at that point, again, all you got to do now is do this, and so help is far more accessible than it used to be. Is my point.
I agree, but here's the thing. I've been in the classroom, and to look, and we do it with our kids. My wife does it all the time. Don't ask me that. You got a computer in your hand. When you see that world, that access that you have as only a source of distraction and entertainment, you first got to get switched from it having the world in it.
To know you can use it as an information
as
resource.
information.
Yeah.
Because I tell the kids that I teach all the time, I'm like, if we had these phones when I was in high school,
Exactly.
I would have got a PhD by the time I was 23.
I ain't gonna lie, I was very wild. Social media.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, but just to know, but they don't even think.
They don't.
When I
They
tell
don't think
them,
about it.
I'm like,
See, I think-
but I'll have them in
the
class.
kids-
Google.
The
I'll have them in class.
The
Google.
kids are older people.
These are kids. But here's the thing: the older people, they don't.
What are
They
you
stuck.
teaching the kids?
Huh?
What, college?
High school.
What kind of high school?
What you mean? What kind?
Because what I'm telling you is this. I mean, here's the thing, and I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. But I think the access to information that I'm talking about, and Luck, you made me think of something. The access to information I'm talking about has the ability to close the gap.
Right.
Yeah.
In reality, what it's actually done is it's probably widened the gap.
Yeah.
Because you have a portion of society that looks at the access to entertainment and mindless bullshit, and you have a portion of society, which I think is our kids, right, who are using it. I mean, my daughters
For information,
Like,
yeah.
this makes me mad. We play. I don't know anybody else. Anybody shout out to Wordle. Wordle is like a unifying thing in our family.
We do.
Right.
We play.
I wake
Y'all
up
know
every
what I'm
morning.
saying?
I
We
wake
have
up
a,
every
we even bought
morning
a
to
Christmas
my.
Wordle game.
Yeah, I
for us
wake up
play
every
against
morning
each
to my
other.
wife's Wordle score and my
We send it to each
my
other.
middle
We
child's
compete.
mini crossword score. And my middle child busts my ass on the mini crossword. Like, when I beat them, I'm sending out motherfucking celebration emojis because it's rare. This motherfucker's 17. I wasn't
Yeah.
smarter than my dad on shit when I was 17.
I know.
But they've used the access to information to now there's a level of intelligence, at least on mini crossword bullshit,
Right.
that is far exceeds it. But that's because they use the access to build their intelligence. There's another portion of society that uses the access differently. So I agree with you. I think the possibility and the potential is there, right? Let's talk about these kids for a minute, though.